We have got such an incredible lady coming up. She's an interesting character. She'll be laughing now. She's an interesting character. Liva, I'm going to introduce her because I'm going to let her introduce herself because this is a lady that I share gratitude with. Well, we should share gratitude with every day. And she has got such a phenomenal story, quite different to the stories that we've heard, and a very divine feminine story. So we've had, the guys this morning, and then we've had Amy kind of bridging that gap, taking us into seeing what it's like to kind of go from relatively comfortable life to somewhere where she actually gets to create a life of her dreams. And this lady has been through so many different lives, so many different possibilities, so many different incarnations in one life. And she's now creating a space that is going to be available for other people going through the same thing. And again, this is her level of contribution. Like Amy's contribution is showing people how to create their life. So is Reese's, so is Richard's, so is Liv's. So can we, without further ado, invite the beautiful Liva. Come on in, my gorgeous Madagascan sister, live from the Loire Valley in France. Hello, darling.
Hi there.
Hello, gorgeous. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. How are you?
I'm so good. We might. Yeah, that's it. That's the light. There's the light. Look at that smile. Oh my gosh. And you've been with us. I've seen you in the audience. You've been with us through Amy. Were you here for before, or was it just with Amy?
I was a little bit there with what's his name, Rice, the boxing energy, and then a little bit with Amy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So you're starting to see sort of like the energies that are coming through the story.
So different energies. It's been amazing.
So beautiful, girl. I can see the stone behind you. Where are you? Just tell us where you are.
I am in France, in the Loire Valley, and I'm in a tiny little village where I now live in a farmhouse that I'm restoring, where I am building a space for people who are going through transformation like us. People who are trying to grow and get closer to their spiritual selves, to their best version of themselves. People who need support, people who just want to be with their tribe, basically.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And it's so delicious. And we can already feel, please put in the chat, can you already feel the different energy? Can you already feel it coming and oozing through the screen? This kind of like this breath of energy that we get to receive from Liv. And so
thank you, everyone. I can see that.
Yeah. So let's go there. Let's go there.
You have to ask me the questions.
I'm going to ask you the questions. We are we connected through a networking event, and our energies kind of were just like, oh, this is interesting. We kind of like each other. There's some similarities here, and we get to have conversations that are quite deep really quickly. And when you shared what you were doing, when you shared what you were creating, I could see that like it was naturally the birth of what you'd been through in your life, that this was like, people overuse the word retreat, I think, and this is actually a true healing space. And it's not just like, oh, one day I thought I'm going to go and create a healing space. What happened was a magical journey, and that magical journey is what I want to kind of discover and share with people today. But before we go there, take us back, take us all the way back, and kind of give us, Give us the wounds before we go into the wisdom.
Oh dear. Okay, the wounds, the wounds. Okay, so let's go back way back at the beginning. So I was born in Madagascar, as you said. And well, Kathy, don't cry, don't cry. And it started when I was 1.5. I was involved in a car crash. Both my parents and I were in the car, and my dad died right there on the spot. And my mom got terribly maimed, and she couldn't really take care of me. I got projected out of the car, and I landed, excuse me, I speak in metrics, a metric system. I landed 30 meters away from the car, and I was just shaking and waiting for someone to pick me up. This was in Madagascar, so you can imagine the in 1976. So imagine the level of, or maybe you don't, of there's nothing there to take care of you. You know, there's one body and one woman entangled in a car and a baby that's somewhere there in nature. So anyway, um, they tried to fix my mom. It's actually a cardiologist who just happened to have finished his schooling in France, who happened to go through the hospital where my mom was. And he was a friend of my then deceased dad. And he said, you can't amputate her. I'm gonna fix her. And he literally, her is it the tibia? I don't know. I really suck at that. But anyway, her bone was broken into three parts. He fixed it. He literally DIY'd her freaking bone, but she was not able to walk. She was not able to take care of herself, let alone take care of a 1.5-year-old baby. So what happened is that we were quite well off with my dad being an entrepreneur and a well-established family, etc. But the second he died, we got robbed of everything, and my mom and I became homeless. So that was really hard because she could hardly move and everything. And every day we had to be with another member of the family who would agree to have us for dinner or for the night or lunch. And I have very early memories. I'm one of those freaks, literally. I remember when my mother was basically breastfeeding me. I know memories come at 4. I still have memories of when my mother was breastfeeding me. I even have memories of being in her womb and hearing her eat. It's pretty insane. So I have memories of that time when we were homeless, and we would really depend on the pity or compassion of family members. I remember my mom asking and wondering where are we going to eat today, because she couldn't work. She couldn't do nothing. And I remember that she wouldn't eat at midday and I wouldn't either. But then in the evening, we would stay with an uncle or something. And that's how our lives went for a few years. And then came, I turned 4. And at 4.5, my mom said, all right, this is it. Can't take care of you. Your best bet for life is to go and live with your uncle. So that's my dad's brother. And he used to live on the border of France and Switzerland. He was a diplomat, a high-ranking one, as well, representing the country with the UN. And basically, she sent me over there. But what she didn't know, and she still does not know. So, if in case, Mom, you're here, I'm sorry, but it's time for me to bring this out, and this is the very first time that I'm sharing this publicly.
Thank
Staying
you.
with my uncle, it was the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. It was abuse, physical, sexual, mental. It was just insane. I had half brothers and sisters because he wanted me to call him daddy and his wife mommy. But it was still a magic. It was a blessing in a way that's where I learned to speak English. English is not my first language because they wanted to speak English. But also, this was in France and Switzerland. They spoke French. I didn't speak a word of French. I spoke Malagasy. So thanks to that, I am as fluent in the 3 languages. It's just easy. And thanks to that.
Just before we go any further, can we just this is how much I love this lady. She's like already given us a high level trauma. Her mother is highly maimed, her father is killed right there in front of her. She is projected out of the car as a baby and kind of left to shake. and then literally living on kind of, like you said, like this pity and kind of charity as you go along, to the point where your mother's like, I can't, I've got a 6-year-old. I know what a little 4-year-old is like. I can't manage you anymore. Like, the best thing I can do for you is to gift you this life in a family, in a high ranking diplomat's home with brothers and sisters. Why wouldn't any mother think, okay, I can't do it, I'm going to gift her there? And what you're saying is basically that gave you this kind of dual-sided life.
Absolutely.
That was highly abusive in many different ways, yet also incredibly educational in another way.
Absolutely.
So really kind of wanting to set that for people, and also want to see how beautiful you are, that you just like ring through it like it's not a harrowing story.
Not anymore, because I've done my work, that's why.
And this is beautiful. So please pop in the chat, is this landing for you? That, the beginning of this life is very, very challenging for this woman. And you're such a beautiful soul. So carry on. You're like, so you're in this diplomat's home. You're in,
I'm there. I don't have a bedroom. I don't deserve a bedroom. I sleep in the corridor with a woman that they employ. And I don't the kids get gifts every day. I don't get nothing. I get secondhand clothes. So from the get-go, I am not worth it. From the get-go, I'm a second-rate human. I'm a second-rate child. I'm a second-rate human. Also, the opposite side is I had to go to school. I had to go to school, and I got there and I didn't know anyone. I didn't understand the freaking language. So what I did is, that's also where I developed this very deep sense of observation. So I go there and I see kids talk to each other in French, and the guy says bonjour, and the girl says bonjour, and I'm like, well, that kind of sounds like hi. Okay, all right. And then, oh, what's your name? And she says Caroline. I'm like, Caroline, I know that's a name, so you must have asked her name. So that's how you ask a name, and that's how I learned basically survival, pure survival. This survival gift to decipher things, to observe things, which I use still today, use it in my sessions. There's a lot of nonverbal communication, but I use that. And I use that also with my intuition. So that's also a gift. The other gift, because for me, it's important to highlight, yes, I have a dramatic start of life, but at the same time, I think the real power in everything is to flip it and to see where the gratitude comes in, as you and I do every day, or should be doing every day, my dear. To see where the gratitude is. I could not read at the time. I mean, I couldn't speak French. How could I read? But what I did is I got so bored because nobody took care of me. Nobody paid attention to me. So I grabbed one of my sister's baby books. I think it was Little Red Riding Hood or Sleeping Beauty, something like that. And I just went under the table, and they had those big tablecloths. So I was under the table and I learned to read on my own. So the lady, the maid who was like cleaning and stuff, she came to me and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I think I know how to read this. Look." And she was like, "Oh my God, I'll help you, but shut the fuck up." Shut up, because if he, meaning my uncle, learning to read before school, he's gonna come and he's gonna chastise you every single day, because he's gonna force you to read and you're gonna end up hating reading. So I shut up, because every morning when I would wake up and I would pick up my spoon with the left hand, I would get thrashed with his belly buckle, that like belt buckle, bare naked, because a future diplomat, according to Malagasy beliefs, cannot afford to be left-handed. Whatever.
Interesting beliefs. And we get to have a look at that, in our own lives, that different cultures create different beliefs, and that can really be unsettling for anyone.
Exactly.
So okay, so we
that's
can
another
see
gift.
this energy.
Yeah, so that's another gift because hey, today I'm right-handed, but there's a bunch of things I do with the left hand. So basically, he gifted me the power to activate both my brains. Thank you, asshole.
We definitely get to see that she's done the work, as she's kind of going through everything that occurred. You've picked out the gratitude in each part. And
Absolutely.
kind of what I'm really interested in as we kind of move through this is
Mhm.
that there wasn't any part of your life growing up, and we're going to keep going,
Yep.
that that wasn't out of alignment with what we would say was a loving family, a loving environment for you. It was
Yeah.
kind of the opposite, but on the veneer on the outside, it
Yeah.
was all,
Oh, it
yeah.
was amazing. Oof, what amazing. What a family, how lucky she is. And she studied abroad, blah, blah, blah. And look at her and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yep, okay. So there's the appearance and then what's happening behind. And then there's the loneliness that goes with it because you can't share this. You can tell it. I mean, you know this, right? Like you can tell this to people. It's yours and it's for you to keep. So for the longest time, I've been carrying a lot of resentment, a lot of anger in me for the longest time. My energy was exactly the same as as Reese's energy. I would go boxing. I would go, how you call this, like the kickboxing. I
Yeah.
would do all sorts of super aggressive things because that's what came up for me. I had to go through that, and the only way out is through, basically.
Yeah, the only way out is through. I know we've heard it,
Yeah,
but we want to drop that into everybody. The only way out is through. So you
absolutely.
started to go through. So move us through.
Okay, let's move forward a little bit faster now. Okay, let's fast forward a bunch of years. I'm back with my mom, reunited. I'll just pass all the whatever that go with that, because obviously, when you separate a child from the guardian, the mother, or whatever, at that kind of age, when they reconnect later on, it's very hard to rebuild a mother-daughter relationship, and you know that mother-daughter relationships are by definition super hard. So imagine, like, I've only reconnected with my mom. I'm turning actually 40, oh my God, 47 in 2 weeks.
Can we just all go in the chat now and tell me, does she look 47? Come on. Come on. I think that's Madagascan skin.
Yeah.
There's Robin, by the way. She's like, no way, but Robin looks amazing for her age too. So I'm going to ask you before we continue, just to shift
You want me
slightly.
to go here?
Yes, because
Oh,
the
like
light,
this?
that's it. So we can
Okay.
see you.
All right.
So yeah, so you go back to live with your mom.
With my mom in Madagascar, we fast forward. She meets a man who's amazing. He's French and he adopts me. Friday was the 30 something birthday anniversary of his adoption. And on Sunday was actually the 30 something anniversary of my parents getting married. You see, I don't really pay attention to those things. I just know. So that's that. So yeah, let's fast forward to building myself. My only option was to really be good at school because that was the only place where I had structure, where I was appreciated for who I was, for what I was doing, for how I was doing. At home, my mother was largely absent afterwards. She did not know how to be a mom. I mean, you have to bear in mind, she was 23 when she became a widow. So, uh, you know, I've been blaming her for a long time until I was like, well, hold on a second. She's a human, 20 fucking three. Oh shit. Yeah, that's no joke. Like, okay, I get it. I get it, you know. So yeah, I became a financial journalist and I have worked all over Europe. I worked and lived all over Europe, in Asia, and then in America, moved to New York. And lo and behold, 9/11, my office was in World Trade Center 1.
Just,
again.
because this is why I call her the serial survivor, because hold on a minute, not only is she launched from a car at like 1.5, thrown into a massive abusive kind of like environment, learning 3 languages at the same time, then kind of gone back and learn about, you know, this journalism. You kind of rushed over the, you know, you were in New York, London, Hong Kong, you were all over the place doing this financial journalist role. And
Yeah.
the role that you were in had an office in the trade center on the day of 9/11.
Yeah. Yeah. So
What
this is,
happened?
well, I mean, this is something very interesting because I had just gone back from Italy, vacation with a friend, and on that day I was supposed to come in very early, and he was like, "Well, you're obviously, we work together. You're obviously jet lagged more than I, so why don't you come in later at 9 a.m. and I'll go in at 6 a.m." Okay, sure, awesome. We do that, but the night before, I leave the office at 8 p.m. And there's one colleague who was there, and I was an editor there. So I say bye. So I leave and I get down the first set of elevators. So how it went is that there was an express elevator from 0 to 44. And then from 44, it would distribute to the higher floors. So I get to floor 44 and I'm like, I think I can't even remember. I think we were 61st floor. So basically I get there on 44th and I'm like, no, hold on a second. I have a bunch of personal things in the office. They got nothing to do there. I go back up, pick up an empty cardboard box and pick up all my personal belongings. A mug and all the stuff, personal notes, because I wanted to launch a business on the side, and all my personal notes, my preparation, blah, 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 everything. I took out everything. So when I got home that night, my boyfriend was like, "What? You resigning? Did you get fired? Did something happen?" I'm like, "No, I don't know. I just felt like, emptying out all my personal stuff." It was like, "Okay, whatever." And then that's what happened in the morning, right? And I was supposed to be in there. If I had been on time, I would have been in one of the elevators and I would have been burned. But the thing is, I should have been there on time, but divine timing has it that I was in the subway that would have allowed me to be there on time, but because there was a first impact, they stopped the subway. And they said, "Oh, there's a plane incident at the World Trade Center. We will not be stopping at Fulton Street. We'll stop at the next one." So I was
Oh
like,
my gosh. And
okay,
you're often saying you were not meant to be there. Well,
I
I
was
mean, it
not.
seems
I was
obvious.
not. But one of I mean, this is something really wow. I'd love to share this because basically, instead of moving away from the tower once I was outside, I went towards the tower. And when the plane number 2 hit, I was under the plane. So can you imagine? I was standing there. All of a sudden, it became really dark. The noise was just impossible. And then it just a massive bang. First, the noise of the plane approaching, the massive bang, and then the things falling around me. And I kid you not, I had a feeling that I had a blue bubble around me, protecting me because I was like, this is it. It's my turn. Okay, I got it. It's my turn. And no, can I be very, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, a leg fell next to me, like somebody on a plane, the leg, plane parts, all sorts of shit around me. And I'm in my bubble and I'm pinching myself, going, this is a nightmare. Wake the fuck up. Wake the, no, no, hi, ouch, it hurts. Ouch. So, and I walked away and I was like, holy shit, I should not have survived that. What the fuck happened? For me, it was very clear, as you said, Robin, I was not meant.
And this is the second time then in your life where you are in a situation that is genuinely catastrophic, genuinely life and death.
Absolutely.
And you're like, you know, I'm in this bubble. I shouldn't survive, but I am surviving.
Yeah.
And so kind of as you move through life, there's this, and I mean, I call it divine nonchalance. You know, it's just like, oh, of course I have survived. You know, I am special.
When
But actually, But actually, the more you started to move, the more you started to move with that energy, you started to see something that was in you that is like, it's not even resilience. It's just like this grace that moves, that kind of moves you from one situation to the next. So where did it bring you next?
The next situation was so after that I went to live in France, in Paris, and I did not realize that I had severe PTSD, and I kept on putting myself in danger. I didn't understand that. It was very hard for me to relate to people. I could not go out in the evening. I would not, like, I spent my 30s basically watching TV at home every evening. And I didn't feel like something was wrong with me. I was like, yeah, fuck it. I just want to watch TV. You just go dance, go do your thing. I don't give a shit. Like, literally, that's how I was. For me, it was just normal. But then reality came knocking at the door when I had 2 strokes. And I had no idea what happened. One of the doctors, actually an internist, came that I went to see. Like, it's like a house MD does all those like crazy diagnoses and stuff, and I had to go see one. And she welcomed me and she said, please sit down. And thank God a friend from San Francisco actually came to visit me because he knew about my 2 strokes, came with me to see her. We sat down and she said, Miss Judic, if I were you, I would take care of all my affairs because, and this was July, by February, you will no longer be with us.
And how old were you at this point?
I can't even remember. I was 30. Yes, I know. 30. I think I was 30.
So, this diagnosis straight after, what had occurred with the trade centres, now like at 30, having stroke and being like, you're not going to survive, by the way.
Yeah.
You're not going to survive. So we move through the 30s. What actually really happened? Because you clearly did survive because you're here.
I did. So before that, there was something else that I failed to mention. But before that, I had so I left journalism once I arrived in Paris, and I worked in communication for the then president of Madagascar, who had just been elected after 40 years of dictatorship. And here's a very interesting synchronicity. The dictatorship started on the day I was born. The then prime minister, who just died 2 days ago, by the way, the then prime minister took power as his firstborn arrived, his son. His son was born the same day, same time as me. But
Wow.
my mom had arrived 2 seconds before them at the hospital. So I got the delivery room. The wife of the prime minister was in a common room.
Oh.
And he seized power after that. So I kind of feel like, damn, I should have given him the delivery room. Like, damn it. I mean, come on. So for me to be able, like, I basically, it's very strange because when I came back from the US, it was very clear for me that I wanted to serve, but I thought it would be great to serve this country now that there's a new president. There's hope, there's everything. What can I do? What can I do? And lo and behold, as Rhys said earlier, you decide. I say you put yourself on the vibration of whatever you want to attract.
So just hold that there. I put myself on the vibration of whatever I want to attract. Yes. Okay. Write that in the chat. I want to see that. We put ourselves in the vibration of what we want to attract. So how did you do that?
I don't know. I just was sure. I was like, yeah, it feels right. It feels aligned. It's very deep. This is it. This is what I want to do. This is it. Okay, well, then this is it. It's this reaction of like, okay, well, then this is it. It's not oh, but then why not? Not sure. No, it's this reaction of saying, yes, okay, then
this is mine. Yeah.
Like so it has been, the gratitude forward. So it has been. You don't say so it will be or so it is. It's so it has been. It's like it's already happened, in fact. Right?
It's already happened.
Exactly. And it's just amazing because they contacted me. They contacted me. They came to me and they said, "You're a journalist. You're super young. You're like 20, I was 27. You went to Davos. You were the youngest journalist in Davos. You have like so many scoops, so many bylines. You have an amazing, address book. Yeah, come work with us because we don't really speak English. We don't really speak French. We don't know how to communicate with heads of states, with high ranking people. Whereas I don't give a shit, literally. I just talk to everyone. It doesn't impress me.
And also, you'd been brought up in a diplomat's home, regardless of the way you were brought up.
Exactly. I was, absolutely. And so I was like, fine. And that's what happened. I'm going to drop this here because I'm very proud. The one thing that I did there, how many of you have actually watched the movie Madagascar?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, yeah. How many of you have? Because that was my doing. Because Pixar had been sending mails desperately to the presidency and everything, and nobody understood, and they just chucked it. And somebody said, "Oh, Judy can understand this. We don't know what they want, those damn Americans." And I read the thing, and I just wrote a whole long um, letter and reference to the president's office and said, we need to do this. We need to give them open budget. We need to house them. We need to give them cars. We need to give them helicopters. Give them everything they need. When you go and basically shoot a movie in a foreign country, you have to pay taxes on the equipment that you take there. I said,
Right.
levy all the taxes. Don't take any taxes. Just open the doors to those people, because my mission, my official mission as head of international communication, was to get Madagascar on the radar of as many people as possible around the world, of all walks of life, all ages. And I said, this is it. This is it. I had to convince the communications minister, went to the president, and from there on, the president just trusted me like crazy, which also brought issues. So yeah, that's one. That's like, I think, my biggest achievement for my country.
Oh my gosh, everybody now who has watched Madagascar or is going to watch Madagascar later today is going to be like, I know the lady that made that happen.
I know the papers. I still have the papers because there's a few things when I tell people, they're like, yeah. And I'm like, believe me or not, I do have all the proof of everything that I say. So
no, I do know. I know, because I know you. And like, there's something. I'm like, how do you know that person? How did that happen? Oh my gosh, you know this and you did this. It's so cool. And so, okay, so just want to kind of bring it back. We've been through this kind of abusive childhood in a way, although the dark and the light. And it's interesting, I have to say this, because the light on your screen,
it keeps on going and back.
dark to light, and I'm like, she's in this diplomat's home and yet it's abusive. She's in these roles that are really fantastic, but she's got to fight for what it is that she wants, and also being like the seed of some fantastic opportunities that are happening for people, yet the accolade doesn't come to you. It's kind of like it's always on the veneer somewhere else.
Absolutely.
And so to kind of give that idea to people that you went back to Madagascar, you did that stuff, and that's when you moved to Paris. After that,
no, I did. Yeah, exactly. I went to Madagascar, and then with my parents when I was, my mom and my stepdad, when I was 15 or 14, we moved to France, where I studied in the north of France. And very quickly, I just wanted out. So I went to study in London, and I lived there for 5 years. And then from London, all those different places, etc., etc. Then after that, I became a financial journalist, and then I did this for the president. And I don't know if you noticed this, it's quite funny how life can be sarcastic. I was raised by an abusive freaking diplomat. The last time I saw him is because I went out of his residency and I had a gun to my head that he put to my head in front of UN representatives. So this story is a true story too. Nobody moved. Well, this guy represented the country. There I am working for the president.
Wait. We need to tell them this. This is the juice. This is the juice, everybody. Because in Liv's world, it's just like, oh my God, and this thing happened. I'm like, frame it, Liz. So hold on. You became a diplomat.
I became a diplomat.
The
Remember, can't
youngest.
hold my spoon with the left hand because I'm a future diplomat. I freaking became a
Yeah.
diplomat. Yep.
And then when you were in Paris, this event occurred
Mhm.
that shifted something in you again and kind of gave you, again, this duality of this power and this shadow. But then kind of from that there was like another wound that kind of came up. But I want you to give us a brief outline of kind of what happened with that story.
So while I was in Paris and working for the president, there's three things where I was working for the president. People hated me because I was very young and had a lot of power with him, because he trusted my words, and I would not be. I don't kiss asses. I just don't. I just say whatever I have on my mind, and I'm very straight. I'm a straight shooter, which doesn't necessarily serve me, but because of that, and because politics there is still very green and immature, I got beaten up. And then I got poisoned. I almost died there of poisoning during one of my trips there. And he was very gracious and transformed my hotel room into a hospital room. So again, I was not meant to go. I really thought I was going, but I was not meant to go. I got saved last minute. I lost 20 pounds in 3 days, but that's okay. I got saved. Returned from that, then I got, I had pain in my belly, whatever. Went to the hospital. They were removing my appendix, but actually the guy didn't know what he was doing. Cut too much of my intestine, medical malpractice. I was bleeding inside, blah blah blah. And again, a mixed blessing because he did not know how to suture, and because basically there had been an emergency before, and the main surgeon had to tend to that, life-threatening. So he said, appendix, super easy, 45 minutes, just do it. The guy didn't know how to suture. But also, and I bled inside, and I didn't keep my food, and I kept on losing weight, and I said goodbye to my friends. I really thought I was going, but it was a blessing in disguise because I went to another hospital in Paris, the American hospital. They did a CAT scan and they discovered what was happening, internal bleeding. And thanks to that, we discovered I had cancer. That was the pain. I had ovarian cancer. But because I had gone through the knife twice already in 10 days, I could not go anymore. They could not remove it. So I had to choose what to do. And I was, again, super lucky because my then partner was a scientist, a pharmacist, and he really worked a lot with natural medicine. And he took me to this guy who helped me with biodynamic nutrition.
Mm.
And I killed the cancer with biodynamic nutrition in 2 years. And while going every day to my oncologist at the American hospital, who did not believe in this at all, but he would prescribe all the blood work that I had to do every day, every 2 weeks, every whatever, until it was over. And the last day I went there, the guy who's super tall, super strong, just like collapsed in his chair, started crying. I'm like, okay, give it to me. What's happening? He's like, no, it's just that there are women your age who've come here in such a better state than you've come here, because let's face it, you had one foot in the grave when you came here. You were a skeleton and you couldn't even stand straight. They didn't make it. And you and your herbal teas and God knows what, look at you. He's like, I don't know. If someone has willpower, it's you. But also, I never, ever want to be on your bad side, ever. He's my friend now. He's helping me.
Yeah, and it is gorgeous because and I want to be mindful of time because
Yeah.
we've got so many amazing things we
I
can talk
know.
about with Liv. But this biodynamic piece is really powerful because it comes into what you're creating at the moment.
Absolutely. So,
I want to kind of give them this before we kind of go to what it is you're creating and how you've extracted the wisdom from all of these wounds, because this isn't womb to wisdom to wealth. This is like like just having you down, and then kind of moving you through that. And I want to say, there was a moment in Paris where you came face to face with your uncle.
Yes.
And I want can you share that with us?
Well, that was before I even before I became a journalist. That was my first day as a journalist, and he wanted to welcome me in his house, and he was the ambassador at that time, and he welcomed me in his house. And the thing is, he we had a dinner with a few UN officials, and he was starting to get a little drunk. And all I said was like, because I used to call him daddy, that's what he wanted me since I was a kid. So I said, daddy, your dessert, like your ice cream is melting. And he's like, what the fuck are you saying? You don't get to say a thing. You're a traitor, blah, 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 blah. Because basically, my family used to be very powerful in the country back in the days when it was a monarchy. And the last queen was deposed by the French. And during my whole childhood, when I lived with him, he kept on telling me, "You've got blue blood. You've got blue blood." And I was like, "I don't understand. My blood is as red as anybody else's. What the, you know?" And so he was still stuck on that. So he said that I was a traitor because I took French citizenship with my stepdad. And he was like, if it were just me, you're a traitor, I would just kill you. And I looked at him, I said, just do it then. He went upstairs, picked up a gun, came back to the table, put it to my temple, and I was like, just go ahead, pull the trigger. What can I say? You know, and I was like, I was shaking. I was like, and I was, but not shaking out of fear. That's the thing. I was shaking out of anger,
Mm.
sheer anger. I was like, I'm gonna kill this guy. Like either you kill me or I kill you, but nobody, it's not gonna be easy. And he ended up not pulling the trigger, but kicking me out. So I was out on the street with my suitcase, and I had just arrived in Paris the day before to start my new job.
Mm.
So I hopped on a cab in the cab and I said, take me to a hotel, whatever. And that's how I started. It was
Yeah.
like clean slate.
There's so many different rich stories. It's just so great. So first of all, what is hitting for you all? What is going on here? Am I right? Is she right? She's a serial survivor. Serial survivor. How are you able, one person, to survive all of these things? You know, I just want to kind of place that we're jovially talking about it, but it's real, and you're really, really alive and really, really kind of going through these things. And so you decide, yeah, I think you're living in Portugal at this point. You know, I don't know how far forward we're going now, but you're in
Very, very
Portugal.
far forward. Portugal is
Yeah.
only 3 years ago.
Yeah. And something speaks to you like,
Oh, yeah.
go
Well,
on.
yeah. Two things. But first of all, I've always been a big city person, as you know, you know, Paris, London, New York, Hong Kong, Singapore. I'm a big city girl in Milan, whatever, and Berlin, just before Lisbon, Portugal. And in Portugal, I have this thing that I wanted to live in one specific area, and boom, I found an apartment there. It has a garden and it has a parking space, and it's just like, actually Patricia is here, and she saw the place. It's just impossible to find that. And
Yeah.
I just put myself in the vibe the night before, and I got the apartment the following day. It was just freaking crazy, and everybody's like, what the hell? And then I realized that I needed to see nature. I needed to be in nature. I had a garden at last, but there was no greenery, so I put a lot of plants and stuff. But also I was like, it's time for me to have my own place. I had bought a place in Berlin because it was the cheapest. Like, we're talking about wealth. From poverty, absolutely nothing, I had to build myself completely. And changing countries all the time does not help.
Mm.
My wealth is inside of me. My wealth is my experience, is all the things that I take. My wealth is not. So I was listening to Rice earlier on with his cars and this and that did not resonate with me at all. And with all respect, because we're completely different. My wealth is
And even
inside.
he said it, you know, he said it, I got that. And then I was
Absolutely.
like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
actually, something more. My
Yeah.
wealth is inside of me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly. It's inside of me, and my wealth is what I get to distribute. My wealth is what I get to serve with. This is my truth. This is it. It's
Mm.
nothing else. Really nothing
Mm.
else. I see people around me who get, interested in other people because of their wealth or because of this and that. It's just not me. It's just not me. I mean, you know it, Mary Kate. Like, I'm with someone who is an artisan who hasn't even been to school or whatever, and people here, because France is very normative, they're like, ooh, what are you doing with this guy? They don't get it, and it's okay that they don't get it. It's really okay because it's all here,
Mm.
and I'm the
So
only one.
tell us how you got there. Tell us how you got there, lady.
So I was looking for a place to build a house to start with, and I wanted something very environmentally conscious. So I wanted to recycle containers, ship containers, and strangely enough, I bumped into, literally 2 days later, into an architect who specializes in ship containers, and we start talking and everything. So I look for land to actually buy and build upon, and I don't know the price because there's several different prices, and Patricia can attest to it as well. You have the price for the foreigner, the price for the local, and in between you have everything. If you're friends with the local, if you're not, blah blah blah. So I just wanted to double check. And the only countryside that I know of a little bit is the countryside near where my parents live, which is here in the Loire Valley. And I used to come here once every 4 years in the summer. That's it. But I knew it was beautiful. And I mean, come on, Loire Valley, UNESCO, World Heritage, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I go online, I look at properties, and I find this property that just the minute I see it, it's like boom, 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 boom. Oh my God, I can host retreats and I can do this and I can do that. Oh my God, oh, but it's a ruin. But so what? I can also rebuild it. I love restoration. I love working with my hands. I need to, oh my God, creativity. That's where I'm going to reboost people's creativity, intuition, and this and this and that. And so that's how it happened. And my mom happened to be there. She happened to be sunsetting. You know what happens when you're losing your mind a little bit in the evening. And basically she asked me to show it to her. She was visiting Lisbon. I show it to her and I'm like, she's never gonna remember this, it's online. She leaves. It was like Thursday evening. On Sunday morning, I get a call super early from my dad. He's on WhatsApp video, super excited, super giddy. And I had just shown him 2 days before her to use that. And I'm like, what's going on? Is something going on? It's 8 a.m. here. What's going on? It's like, no, 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 guess where we are? Guess where we are? My mom remembered the website. She didn't even know how to flip a switch in the evening because she was sunsetting, but she freaking remembered the website. She remembered the ad. She showed my dad. My dad found on Google Maps where it was, and they went on the Sunday. How crazy is that? I was like, ooh, interesting. So the more I went, the more I was like dreaming, living, breathing this place. I just knew. So I ended up calling, went to visit. When I got there, I was traveling with my little dog. He got crazy, like the vibes. He was super happy. And I'm like, okay, good sign. I loved it. I ended up putting in an offer that I really lowballed because it was like, because I'm a person that I'd rather do things than on my dying bed say, oh, what if I had done this? I'd rather do it and see what happens. So I did it. And lo and behold, 3 days later, they called me and they said, yeah, your offer has been accepted. Congratulations. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Am I terrified? Am I happy? I don't know. Too many emotions. Oh my God. Oh my God. So fast forward, this is where I live now. But I'm not, this is not where I am now. I'm actually at my partner's house because they're freaking playing with the 5G 4G. So at my place it doesn't work, so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go over there. And that's where I am, and I'm rebuilding the place little by little, stone by stone. And I want to have a place where people, conscious people, I mean, I focus on women, but as long as they're conscious humans, they're welcome. I want to have their creativity workshops, things that actually help people reconnect with themselves. My work as a coach is really to reconnect the brain, the heart, and the guts, and reconnect the women that I work with, and some men, reconnect them with their intuition. And that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so beautiful because it's like literally, if there's anybody that we can see today through all of the interviews that goes with their intuition, it's you. You know, there is this, however you call it, you know, from teaching yourself to read under the table to identifying, you know, what is that language that they're speaking, and picking it up, and you know, that sense for a story with the investigative journalism, that going back up in the lift and getting the box of stuff and going, oh, I have no idea, but the next day being like, shit, something had the idea. You know, being able to kind of create opportunities with your intuition with Madagascar, you know, the ripple effects that created because you had your intuition and the skill set that you grew around it. And believe me, people, this is a light cut of the survival tactics of Liva Judic, let me tell you. And so to be able to kind of bring that into a harmonious space, the land, the cottages, you know, and I love, you know, working with the artisans locally and restoring it, like you said, brick by brick, heart by heart, moving like yourself, restoring yourself as you are restoring this beautiful space, and also creating amazing contacts with the people around you where you are, to invite people like us that want a space that they can move in and really connect with their intuition. And you know, we're wrapping up, and I know that there's a lot of people here that kind of want to know a lot more. Tell us how they can find you and what they can do to contribute and you know, learn more about what it is that you're growing and be a part of that movement.
Absolutely. So there's a few places where you can find me. First of all, I want to share one thing. You know, you asked Amy what the quote would be for her.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
one that I love, that I go by. If you are free, you need to free somebody else. If you have some power, then your job is to empower somebody else. Toni Morrison.
If you are free,
You need to free somebody
you need to
else.
free somebody else.
If you have some power, then your job is to empower somebody else.
Oh my gosh, drop that in, ladies and gentlemen. So beautiful. And it's so true. It is that, you know, heal your heart, give your heart. You know, everybody gets to give their heart. So where can they find you?
So where you can find me is you can find me on Instagram. I'm live.alive. That's
Let me
easy.
put this in for everyone.
Yeah. And then you can find the farm itself, because it has its own account, as La Ferme d'Hercé. Can you drop it into?
How am I spelling this?
I'm going to send it to you and you can cut and paste
There
it.
you go. It's in. Oh, to panelists. Okay. How do I do this?
Actually, wait.
You can do it to panelists and attendees.
Here we go. Here you go. Here you go. There you go, everyone.
There we go. There we go. I love it. At Live Alive, because she is alive. No matter what you do with her, she's still alive.
She's still here. She's like, no, not going anywhere. Leave me alone. And the one thing you can do to help and participate with the growth of this is to participate. I've just opened a page last week, was it? It was like, OMK, what the fuck? I'm just gonna do a GoFundMe. Let's just do it. So I haven't actually really shared it so far. So if you want to help, I would be super, super happy. I'm going to drop it here too.
Or know anybody. Yeah, or know anybody that you think would love. Please, can you post on the dashboard how to follow everyone? Yeah, absolutely. That should already be on there. If it's not, we will make sure that that happens. Yeah. And Emma, you will also be getting an email with those details in too. So yeah, Liv has opened a GoFundMe page to help her create this incredible, beautiful space.
There you go. So I go by phases, little by little. So now it's a small cottage, so that the big house where I'm almost done doing the work can be for people who actually want to come. When we can travel, then you can come for a vacation or a weekend, and you can rent it out. And whatever money I make, I put everything towards restoration. Everything feeds itself out. So.
Is there any pictures on the GoFundMe that we can see?
There's a one picture on the GoFundMe only of the cottage that I am basically raising for, but on the Instagram you can see everything. because it's pretty big, because I wanted it to be able to host people, and when you come, and I hope everybody will come, you will feel the energy. It's pretty unique, really is.
It's got to be unique if you're living there, honey. It's got to be unique if you're living there. I would love to say that this woman has gifted everybody that has come in, has kind of gifted something to download, like a free gift, and where you can find them. But this beautiful woman has gifted her calendar, and she's going to be doing short coaching spots. Now, not to be taken willy-nilly. If you're really, really interested in working with Liv, she's a fantastic coach. There will be, her details are on the dashboard, and they will be in the email. So you get to connect with Liv if she's speaking to your heart, if these stories are resonating with you, if this is something that you want to follow up, please contact her. She's such a light. And we get to laugh quite a lot, and we also get to kind of share in the craziness of the stories that have occurred in our lives. And it's beautiful that we got to meet, and that we get to be friends, and that you get to be here today. He's here. Usually when we speak, my cats are meowing and her dogs are barking.
Here's my dog. Can you give me just a second? I'll be back in a second, otherwise this is going to be a nightmare.
You know, that means time. That is normally what happens when my kids come in.
It means it's time.
It's the time.
Thank
so
you.
Much love, sister. So
Thank
much
you,
love.
everyone. So much love. I'll be following. Everyone, please feel free to connect with me. Feel free to send me, to get on the Instagrams, or take advantage of the gift. And actually, Patricia is here, and she's been working with me, so she can attest to how we work together.
Patricia said something pretty amazing in the comments, actually. I'm just trying to find it now, because here it is. Liv has been like a true life-changing meeting for me. My coaching sessions with her are immensely empowering. I have a profound admiration for her. All the love from Lisbon. So that is so gorgeous. That is so gorgeous.
Thank you, Patricia.
Oh my God, thank you. Yeah. And thank you, everyone. There's lots of thank yous. You are beautiful. Thank you. You are light. And I get to contact with you later and do some more downloads. So delicious to see you here. Mwah. My beautiful.
So much love. Ciao.
So much love. Okay.